Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss something called as tool schema. This is a very useful feature to understand whenever you are working with AI agents. So every time you use an AI agent and you want to provide a custom tool for using agent. So let's say for example you have a delivery business and you have an agent, and that agent needs to inform the customer what is the delivery fees. And for this, let's say you have a function, and this function is called calculate delivery fee. And what you need to do is you need to tell your AI agent to use this function every time there is a user query to say what is the delivery fees, or just to provide this information as a transparency. So your calculate delivery fee takes in two inputs. One is the distance in miles. This will be the distance between your location and the customer's location, and whether the customer needs the delivery to be fast or express delivery. This is a Boolean input, and this is a floating point number, of course. So let's say you have a base fee of $5, okay, and every kilometer is multiplied by $1.5 per mile, and then you also of course add $10 if the delivery is expected to be yeah, an express delivery, and then you return the sum, and then the LLM will take this value and it will provide it to the customer. Now this function is there, or any function is there, the LLM needs to understand when to use this function and what parameters are essential for this function and how to pass them. To ensure that for every function this information is provided to the LLM in a standard way, we follow something called as a tool schema. Now a tool schema follows a JSON structure as it is seen here. What are the constituents of these JSON structures? First one is type. It's a function. Okay, it's a function, and what is the name of the function? It is calculate delivery fee. Now you need to ensure that this matches the actual function name so that the LLM knows which function to actually call. And here you provide the description of what this function does. It calculates the total delivery cost for an order based on the distance and speed. So the distance is in kilometers, speed is based on whether it is an express delivery or not. So this textual based information actually tells the LLM when can it actually use this function. So this description is read by the LLM to actually take a decision whether to use this function or not. Now coming to the parameters. What are the parameters? So we have two parameters. One is the distance in miles, which is float, and another one is whether it is express or not. So first one is distance miles, which is a number. And okay, this is the straight line distance from the restaurant to the user in miles. Okay, this is the description so that the LLM knows, okay, what this parameter is. The other one is Boolean, the type, and this is if it is set to true, if the user wants the rush delivery within 20 minutes or whatever. What is this required parameter? So this is the parameter that is essential to use the function. So this, without distance miles, you cannot calculate the value. So if distance miles is not provided by the LLM, then this function cannot be used. But this is optional. Express is optional. So if it is not provided by default, it has to be chosen to be as false. So you can also see the default value set to false already. So, but here is something very interesting additional to do to these properties. So the parameters is actually listed as an object. Why is this an object? The reason is these parameters need to be passed as a JSON object, because let's say the LLM passes two objects, two parameters. Now you need to ensure that each parameter is exactly mapped to the correct parameter type. Otherwise, if it gets mixed up, instead of express, if it passes a float value in express, or in this float value, if it a Boolean value is passed, then the function will crash. So to ensure that this does not happen, the LLM needs to pass these parameters as objects. So this is why the type is object even though this is definitely two different distinct parameters. You can see this example here. So, okay, this is a different example, but this is the structure here. This is how the LLM needs to pass this. So here, instead of sin, let me copy this and let me type it out here. So here, instead of sin, you will have distance miles. You will have distance miles. And here, this will be express. And this will be, let's say, true. And this will be, let's say, 5 miles. So now the LLM has to pass it like this, and whenever the function is run, we can extract the parameters from these key values. So this is why this parameters is of type object every time. I hope this small explanation helps you understand what is the importance of having this tool schema. So every function that you provide to your LLM within your agent functionality that you're building, you need to ensure that you provide this schema. So let me quickly show an example here. So for example, Amazon price tool schema, if this is the schema, you have to provide such a schema where you mention the type as function and the name, fetch Amazon price, description, parameters, and this type is object, and each parameter, for each parameter input type string and the description, and the other parameter type string and the description, and any default values. And if there is any mandatory parameter, you can provide it under required. Hope this short explanation was helpful, and thank you so much for listening. Bye bye.